Good morning, everyone. So this week's Parashat Vayeshev, there's a lot of different stories that are happening. We have the main story, Yosef, his dreams, right? His brothers not liking them, selling him into slavery. Then there's a break, and there's a whole aliyah that talks about Yehuda. Vayered me'echad. Yehuda, after selling with Yosef, feels he is no longer part of the 12 tribes. He gets up and he leaves. Yehuda, as we know today, is what we call the Jewish people. That is what remained from the Jewish people up until now, right? So we have Yehuda goes, he gives up on this dream of being part of the Jewish people, and he starts traveling. He marries a woman over there, he has a few children. The first son gets married, and he's not a good person, God kills him. The second brother marries the same wife, God doesn't like how he's behaving, kills him too. Yehuda says, I'm not going to give this woman my third son, right? Don't want him to die also. Yehuda's wife dies, and then Yehuda goes back and he eventually is looking for some pleasure, some comfort, right? And Tamar hears this and she goes and she disguises herself as a prostitute. Now people look at this in many, many different ways, but this is like the most depressing story in all of the Tanakh. This is someone giving up, right, his children, right? He's going to a prostitute just to give it away. And after they're together, he gives her simanim, he gives her his staff, he gives her his ring, right? He gives her all these things and says, I will come back and pay you later. And then when he comes back to pay her, she's gone. So after she's gone, suddenly he finds out she's pregnant. The story could have been written very, very differently after this. When she's being taken out to being burnt, she says, I'm pregnant to the person this belongs to. He could have easily said, I don't know who this was, or given 1,000 excuses on why he did it. He could have been remembered with his group of that day very, very differently. It could have been that he could have even said, according to Allah, I have a responsibility of Yibum, because this is before Matan Torah and before all this. And there's so many answers that he could have given, and he doesn't. He says 2 words. Tzadka mimeni. Tzadka mimeni, she was more right than me, 2 words. Because of this, he has the honor that David HaMelech will be born from him. David HaMelech is the only king that we have that we still remember as David. Why is David so amazing? His predecessor, okay, Shaul, makes a very small mistake, or so it seems. He doesn't kill the king, he doesn't destroy everything that they own, and because of this, he loses the kingdom. Why does he lose the kingdom? Because when the prophet comes and says, look what you did, he says, oh, it wasn't me, the people wanted, I felt bad, a lot of money involved, and all this. And he says, no, this is not how a king behaves. David HaMelech, who takes another man's wife and sleeps with her, and then has the person executed, this person, right, David HaMelech, is still remembered as one of the greatest kings we've ever had. Malchut David and Shlomo. Why? Because when the prophet comes to him and says, I have a story for you. There's a person, a rich man, who has everything in the world. Next to him lives a very poor man who has only 1 goat, only 1 sheep. And this man loves the sheep like his own child. The rich man decides to throw a feast, and he goes and he slaughters the poor man's sheep, because why should I waste one of mine? And David HaMelech, and he says, what? You're the king. What do we do with this guy? And he says, this man needs to be killed. And he says, you're that man. David doesn't start saying, oh, well, I'm the king. I'm allowed to take more wives. He didn't listen. He should be executed. This. Nothing. What does he say? 2 words. Chatati la'Hashem. And because of this, he is zocheh to have Mashiach being born from him. The power of being able to admit when you're wrong, the power to be able to stand up, is the power of a good leader. Imagine what a world we live in today if our presidents, our leaders, our rabbis, whatever, were able to get up and say, I made a mistake. I'm wrong. That would really be the days of Mashiach.